Well, hello there.
Hello there.
Alrighty then, my Jedi and Sith friends, hello and welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And oh boy, today do we have some very interesting Star Wars news. In my 6 years on this channel, I don't think I've come across something so bizarre and unique, but at the same time something which could be pretty darn awesome. So as we know, next year, 2027, marks the 50th anniversary of A New Hope, and more broadly, the 50th anniversary of this amazing franchise which we love so much. We're getting a re-release of the theatrical cut of A New Hope, Maul Shadow Lord Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, a new movie which is Star Wars Starfighter, and of course, Star Wars Celebration in LA. And yes, Star Wars Meg is coming to America. But today, my friends, we have yet another announcement for the 50th anniversary. And I have to say, this one is pretty darn weird. I can't tell if I'm gonna love this or hate this, but essentially, we're getting a Star Wars Marvel crossover event. And the craziest thing about this is it's official. And this is one I don't think anyone could have predicted. Now, you might be saying, well, don't Marvel Star Wars comics already exist? They absolutely do, between 1977 and 1986, and then again in 2015 to the present day. But those are very different to what we're talking about today, my friends, because when someone says Marvel Star Wars comics, they're usually talking about Marvel as the publisher. We're not expecting the Hulk or Spider-Man to appear in a comic about Kylo Ren, but that is where today is very different, because for the first time in 50 years, they've announced a literal crossover event, and indeed it's exactly what it sounds like. Characters from both universes are going to interact, and no, it's not canon. It's not going to count towards the wider Star Wars universe, and I've already seen some people take issue with this, but honestly guys, what I would say is, don't take it too seriously. It's intended to just be a bit of fun. Pick it up if you like this kind of thing, ignore it if you don't. But the real controversy comes with the person who's penning the comic, Kevin Smith. A bit of a controversial person in overall fandom, whether it's his provocative comedy, a lot of people say his material is rather crude, and of course he's very outspoken about his opinions on various things. But I guess Lucasfilm and Marvel felt as though he was the best man for the job. But let's take a look at what this comic is going to entail, and as you're going to see, it's very unique. That's the way I would describe it. Here's what they say. For the very first time, the worlds of Star Wars and Marvel will collide in an official crossover event. Do keep in mind, my friends, there was supposed to be a DC Star Wars crossover at some point, but that's never really manifested. So Marvel and Star Wars decided to jump on the opportunity, and because they're both Disney-owned studios, I assume this was a pretty easy thing to coordinate. So it's going to be titled Star Wars Marvel Hope Assembles, a 5-part limited comic run with an issue every month, starting in January and finishing in May. And then here's the description. They say, figures like Chewbacca, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia will join Earth 616, the primary continuity in which most stories of Marvel comics take place. And these characters will mingle with the likes of Captain America, Black Widow, Spider-Man, and the Hulk. And look, I know some fans are going to despise this, but because it's not to be taken seriously, it kind of sounds pretty cool. I'm surprisingly curious. I'm also quite a big fan of the cover art. Here we see Luke with Spider-Man, Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. And on this cover, I have to say the most hilarious part to me isn't necessarily Vader and Thanos, it's the fact that Greedo's been snuck in, just behind Doctor Doom. And it seems as though, based on comments from different people at Lucasfilm Publishing and Marvel Comics, that they're actually quite excited about this initiative. And keep in mind, my friends, yesterday there was a rumor that we're getting a Lego Star Wars Marvel crossover set, and this is going to be an Iron Millennium Falcon, or as they call it, the Iron Falcon. The minifigures are a mishmash of both franchises. We have Iron 3PO, War 2D2, Spider-Han, I think that's my favourite, Captain Alderaan, and Hulk Backer. I think it's safe to say that is legit. Based on this official announcement, I think they're doing more with this crossover. I wonder if they're thinking about making action figures, or going further, something for the screen, a limited show on Disney+, who knows. I can see this either doing really well, or just flopping on its face. But moving on, they then go on to say this. Kevin Smith, the actor-director who wrote major runs of Daredevil, Green Arrow and Batman, writes the new story. David Marquez of Uncanny X-Men and Ultimate Comics Spider-Man is the artist behind the project. And here's a quote from Kevin Smith. Back in the early 80s, I had a subscription to Marvel's Star Wars comics, and as fun as it was to follow the continuing stories of Luke, Leia and Han, I always wished that Spider-Man or Doctor Doom could somehow cross over into their cinematic universe. And this is where even I'm a bit conflicted, because the Star Wars purist in me says, keep these two separate. Star Wars is Star Wars, Marvel is Marvel. There isn't really room for a crossover in a way that would make sense, and that's why I'm genuinely curious about how they're gonna do this, because it's been described as A New Hope on Earth 616. But I am comforted by the fact that it doesn't really count towards anything. It's basically a fanfiction comic with a budget. It's not gonna count towards any canon continuity, and like I said, it's just a bit of fun. Kevin Smith goes on to say this, so when the opportunity actually arose to tell that story, nobody had to force my hand. I'm ecstatic to be writing Hope Assembles for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. And then we have some of the other covers revealed to us, and it's just crazy to think this is official artwork. It's just jarring to see this arrangement of characters, to see Wolverine next to Han Solo and Chewbacca. In this one we see R2-D2, C-3PO, Leia, Black Widow, Black Panther, some Fantastic Four characters like The Thing, and the backdrop for this one is the opening chase of A New Hope, the Imperial Star Destroyer chasing the Tantive V4. They're being very daring with their crossover, and they say this, Hope Assembles will anchor the Star Wars franchise into Marvel's universe. The events of A New Hope unfold on Earth, thanks to a reality-shattering spell, so everything is thrown off. So in this comic, I expect every character on both sides to be very confused. The Star Wars characters are no longer part of the galaxy far, far away, and the Marvel characters have to contend with these characters and in some cases aliens who do come from their universe. I have to say, this is usually the kind of thing I would skip, but I think I'm gonna pick it up. I also love this cover here, by the way. Ben Kenobi with Deadpool, Daredevil, Hawkeye. On the right hand side you have Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and on the left, Jawas. So this tells me it's not just going to be the main characters thrown into Earth 616, it's going to be pretty much every character from episode 4. Background characters, Tuskens, Mos Eisley Cantina patrons, Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt, their whole universe has gone topsy-turvy. And one final comment from the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, he's hoping that lifelong fans are going to really appreciate it. Again guys, with Star Wars, I know we take it very seriously, we want Star Wars to be great, we get really annoyed when it's not, but this is just one of those things to take as if it's one of those Lego specials. Just something to have fun with, something to read through and enjoy for what it is, and try not to mentally associate it with the canon content. So I'm going in very curious. I genuinely want to know what's going to happen. But what do you guys think? Are you going to read this? Like I say, do you want me to cover it? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. A very interesting one in this one, guys, and if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.